favorite spring card I've ever made. I'm not even kidding. The moment I started playing with my Hero Arts Spring Bunny stamp set, I knew this was going to be special. The ink blending on these tulips alone is just chef's kiss. Hey, welcome back to my craft room and my channel. I'm Kelly Wicker and I'm so happy to have you here. Stay with me because I'm going to be walking you through every single step, the stamping, the coloring, the blending, all of it. Okay, a quick note before we dive in. I am a Hero Arts affiliate, but everything I'm using today, I bought it myself because honestly these products are just so stinking cute, y'all. I couldn't help myself. So here's what I'm playing with today. I'm going to be playing with the Hero Arts Spring Bunny Stamp and Die set. And if you haven't seen this yet, just wait. The color layerings, tulips pattern stencils, and the tulip pattern cover plate. I'm obsessed with it all. It's just so adorable. So for the coloring and texture, I'm pulling out my Distress Oxide inks for some ink blending, Distress Texture Paste Sparkle, because yes, we're going to be adding a little shimmer and sparkle, and my Copic markers for the coloring on these bunnies. And here's a little sneak peek of the card I'm making today. Let me bring that in. Here it is, really cute. So I was scrolling through the Hero Arts website and stumbled on a couple of cards that just completely inspired me. So I took the inspiration and sort of made it my own, and I am so happy with how it turned out. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the card making fun, y'all. Okay, so today I'm starting with some ink blended tulips, my absolute favorite flower. I'm not just saying that either. I even had tulips in my wedding bouquet, and way back in the day, my screen name was Tulip, so this goes way back, y'all. I've got my original stamp wheel out using the sticky mat to hold my card panel and stencils in place. The stencil set includes 4 layers, and Hero Arts makes it super easy with numbered stencils and registration marks to line everything up perfectly. So for the color, I'm reaching for my go-to Distress Oxide inks and a mix of bright, happy shades. I really wanted to create a vibrant, colorful field of tulips. I'm also using pixie tape to mask off areas so I don't accidentally blend colors where I don't want them. Okay, I'm just cleaning off my blending brushes in between colors, and I'm also cleaning off the stencil so I don't contaminate any colors. I'll be switching colors for the next stencil layer, and I'm using my microfiber cloth to clean the brushes. I really like this pixie tape. It's a nice low tack option, but I always remove it slowly because it can still tear the paper if you're not careful. So the cardstock I'm using is my go-to hammer mill, and I've trimmed this panel down to an A2 size for my card, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Okay, I just love stencils so much. They really make it look like you know what you are doing, and they take a lot of the guesswork out of layering. These Hero Arts stencils are especially nice because they are so easy to line up with the registration marks, which makes everything come together beautifully. I'm kind of sort of using the registration marks, kind of sort of not, but just look at how pretty this is already. I'm loving how the colors are building and starting to bring these tulips to life. Now let's go ahead and move on to the second layer. Okay, so I'm working on the stencil layer number 2, and I'm going in with some darker shades of Distress Oxides. This is why you saw me cleaning off my blending brushes earlier. I didn't want to muddy up those colors. And these stencils do take a little bit more time to blend. Just keep that in mind when you're working with these, but it's totally worth it. And honestly, it's so relaxing and so fun to do. So this background just screams spring to me. Here in Texas, the wildflowers are blooming right now, and it's always so fun to drive around and see the bluebonnets and all the other beautiful flowers popping up everywhere. This field of tulips that I'm creating here, it really reminds me of a trip we took a few years ago when I actually got to see the tulip fields, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, in Keukenhof Gardens in the Netherlands. It was absolutely stunning and definitely one of those unforgettable experiences. It's one of the places I've always wanted to go, and I actually got to go. We were on a cruise, but it was so nice to see them in person. Okay, so I don't have the Hero Arts glitter paste just yet. It's on order, but I didn't want to wait, so I'm using Ranger Distress Texture Paste and Sparkle. I also have the Twinkle, but I'm using the Sparkle. So I'm grabbing my Hero Arts palette knife to spread the paste over the panel, just a little bit here. You'll see in a bit why this probably should have been the last step, but I didn't want to risk messing up all that stenciling I just did, because I didn't want to like have the paste not lined up, if that makes sense. So I went ahead and just added it just now. So check that out, y'all. The paste turned out so pretty. It really adds the perfect sparkle and texture to the background. It was really fun to do, and I really wanted to use it. But you'll definitely see why I should have waited for the panel to completely dry. And honestly, I should have hit it with my heat gun before moving on to the third stencil layer. Anyways, I also thought about scrapping this part and redoing the panel. Like I said, you'll see why. But the quick tip, anytime you're working with texture paste, make sure it's fully dry or speed it up with a heat tool before adding another layer on top. It'll keep your stencils clean and prevent smearing or lifting. Okay, so you see here when I peel off the stencil for the reveal, I ended up tearing the paper a bit where the paste was in some spots. That definitely frustrated me and gave me a little bit of anxiety for a second. But then I reminded myself, I'm not aiming for perfection with my cards this year. I've talked about that in a few videos. So I decided to just leave it in the video. Honestly, everything in card making is fixable, right? Sometimes those little oops moments add character anyway. So I'm just rolling with it and moving on to the final stencil layer, going in with the darker green, rustic wilderness, to really bring in those deeper details. Okay, so now for the last stencil layer, and see how easy these are to line up? Hero Arts makes really great stencils. Just look at this background. I told y'all it was worth it, even with a few torn spots here and there. So I got over my anxiety there. But now you can definitely see why I should have waited to do the paste. Lesson learned for next time. Either save that step for last or make sure it's completely dry. Hit it with a heat gun before moving on so you don't run into the same issue. And honestly, no big deal. I can always cover those little torn areas with an embellishment like a butterfly, a heart, or something cute. You'll see what I end up doing in just a bit. So I did fix one of the little torn areas with a little bit of liquid glue, and you can hardly even notice it now. That area was just bugging me, so I fixed it. I sort of fixed it anyways. So now I'm moving on to the tulip cover plate. I've got out my Platinum 6 die cutting machine out along with some really pretty sparkle cardstock from Lawn Fawn. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine to add a little extra shine and detail to the card. So now to adhere this big die cut piece, I'm grabbing my silicone basting brush. This is a tip I picked up from Natalie Bowers on her channel, and it seemed like a fast way to get all the glue over the back of such a large detailed die cut. This is my first time trying the basting brush trick, and it actually works really well. It does get a little messy on the front of the die cut, but that's okay. The glue dries clear, and I can easily clean it up with my microfiber cloth. Using my Bearly Arts liquid glue and just pouring a small amount onto my glass mat. Then I'm dabbing into it with my silicone basting brush and spreading it all over the back of this large die cut. Super easy to do, and it gives really nice even coverage. For cleaning up, it's just as simple. I'm going to spray a little bit of water onto my glass mat and wipe it up with my cloth. Easy peasy. I'm just lining up the large die cut onto the background panel now. I'll need to do a little trimming to get everything to fit just right, but this is looking so pretty, y'all. I'm really happy with how this is turning out, even with those little torn areas. No worries there though, because I came up with a fun fix for that. You'll see in a bit. Okay, I'm just dabbing up the glue that got on the front of the die cut with my cloth. Nothing got messed up, so that's a win. Now I'm grabbing my paper trimmer to trim off a bit of the white edge that was showing after I lined everything up. I'm also bringing in my Spellbinder scissors to help clean up the edges and get into those tighter spots. Yay, this is looking so good, y'all. I just love how these tulips turned out. All that ink blending really paid off. Check that out. Okay, I'm trimming down a piece of vellum to 4 1/4 by 2 inches. This will give my die cuts and sentiment a soft place to sit, helping them stand out without covering up that beautiful background. Next up, I'm preparing my note card. Today I'm making a side-folded A2 card using my paper trimmer and my score buddy to get a nice crisp fold, along with my bone folder. I'm using hammer mill cardstock for the card base. This is my go-to because it works so well for both card panels and card bases. Okay, so now I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment using my Hero Arts white embossing powder on Ranger Tim Holtz Distressed Black Heavy Stock. This black cardstock, y'all, is quickly becoming my favorite black cardstock. It's so velvety, smooth, and really deep black. Just perfect. I'll have it linked down below. It really is velvety. So I've got out my Misty, and I'm treating the cardstock with my anti-static powder bag first. Then I'm using a little pixie tape to hold everything in place since my sticky mat is starting to lose its grip a little. Also, please ignore how messy it is. Next, I'm using the Happy Spring sentiment from the Spring Bunnies clear stamp set. I'm inking it up with Hero Arts clear ink and stamping it down, being careful not to smush the lettering. Nobody wants smush words, right? Then I pour over the white embossing powder, tap off the excess, and heat it with my heat gun. Make sure your heat gun is really hot for this part. So this part is always so fun to watch, and it turned out so crisp and bright. Just wait till you see it. Okay, y'all, it's so fun to watch the powder melt. I'm just making sure my heat gun is really hot there. And just look how sharp and crisp it turned out, y'all. So crisp and sharp. I'm really happy with it. No smushing or anything with the words. Yay! So now I'm going to die cut it out. So I'm going to get that set up here. Okay, I'm using my Anna Griffin Empress Mini electronic die cutting machine today. It's just off to the side here. I really need to get some new plates though because my magnetic mat is getting pretty flat. Sometimes I have to run things through a couple of times to get a clean cut. But honestly, these plates have lasted me a couple of years, so I can't complain too much. I'm just making sure everything is lined up properly and doesn't shift as I run it through. It's time to stamp all the images, the bunnies, the butterflies, carrot, and the hearts. I'm not sure if I'll use them all, but since I'm already stamping, I might as well do a few extras to have options. I've spaced everything out on my cardstock like this so it will fit through my Anna Griffin Empress Mini when I go to do the die cutting. I'm stamping everything with Hero Arts Intense Black ink, going over it a couple of times to get a nice crisp image with my Stamping Bug pressure tool. Then I'll line them up with the coordinating dies and run them through the die cutting machine. I just love that these have matching dies. It makes everything so much easier. Now to cut out the bunnies and all the little accessories. I'm really hoping this ink is alcohol marker friendly. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not quite sure, but I'm hoping. And yay, those cut out perfectly. No fussy cutting needed, which is always a win because I am not a fan of fussy cutting. Now it's time to do a little Copic coloring, just keeping it super simple and basic. I pulled out some grays and a few springy colors to bring everything to life. I'll be honest, I'm not an expert with Copics and I don't even try to be. This part did take me a little while, so I sped it up quite a bit. I did try a little bit of blending and it turned out okay-ish. Not perfect, but I think it works. I can definitely see myself making a few more spring cards with this set. It's just so cute. I'll have everything linked down below with my Hero Arts affiliate links along with my Amazon affiliate links. What do y'all think of the coloring? Let me know in the comments. So I saw this technique on the Hero Arts Instagram page that I'm going to show you here. I think that's where it was, and I just had to try it. They dipped the die cuts into clear embossing powder. I think it was clear embossing powder. And that's what I'm going to be using. And then heat set them. And it gave them this really cool shiny finish. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I thought it added such a fun, almost glossy look to the images and really helped them stand out a bit more. It's a simple extra step, but it makes a big difference in the final look. Now it's time to assemble everything. I'm grabbing my Spellbinders tape runner to adhere the card panel to the card base, and of course I ran out in the middle. A good thing I always keep plenty of refills on hand. It's super easy to pop a new one in and keep going. Next, I'm using my Hero Arts liquid glue to adhere the vellum to the card. Then I'll start placing all my die cuts. I ended up putting a couple of the butterflies right over those torn areas, and see, easy fix. There are really no mistakes in card making, y'all. Everything is fixable. I didn't end up using all the bunnies like I originally planned, but I actually like it better this way. It feels a little more balanced. That's going to wrap up today's card making session. I hope you all have a happy spring and a happy Easter to those of you who celebrate. And don't forget to do all the YouTube things. Give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you here. And stick around for more crafty fun. I share a lot of Spellbinders releases and now more Hero Arts and even some Sizzix. I'm trying to spread my wings a bit and bring in some new goodies to share with you. Thank you all so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate your support, and don't forget, liking the video really helps the YouTube algorithm. Thanks again so much for watching.